Iranians say no to a pillar of the revolution. And then you have Rouhani here making certain statements. You know, this is from a study they did in 2014. His homeboys did. It says the study said that 49% of the women didn't want to wear hijab. I know myself when I went to.
But they're Muslim.
This is supposedly a study of the women of Iran. All of them, yes.
Is that the Muslims? Is that Muslims that are saying that 49% or just women in general?
It's women in general, but 95. It's only a few people. It's not Muslims. Okay. Hezbollah feigns off Saudi challenge. Iranian targets 2 detained foreigners. This must have been from a month and a half ago. This is November. This is an article, page out, but I just got this. United Iranians united by foes abroad. This is talking about, the movie industry is talking about the people who are killed as martyred, and you can see how souped up the Iranians are about their Islamic nationalism, right? Then all of a sudden, you start hearing these things here. Then you have the demonstrations a little while ago. And at first, the demonstrators are talking about Rouhani. You have, first of all, what is this stuff right here? If they're so souped up 2 months ago, how do you get turned around? This is November 27th. This article, how less than a month later, they're marching in the street and they're mad at the government. Okay. Let me say something first. First of all, Iran is gaining serious power and prestige in the region. The next thing is the Iranian people are unified behind the government, generally. And the government is making generally good decisions. But the brothers that are in now who are against Ahmadinejad, some of my friends, I'll call them friends for now, they said particularly what they hated him because he's destroying the economy. They hated him because he was subsidizing all the poor. Okay, now, what they are saying is that the people came out, okay, they had a little, some chicken disease the last few months back. They had to kill all the chickens, so eggs were up. Now, and milk and stuff like the staples, the government subsidized those things, especially for the poor. Okay? The big guys right now have had a field day. They went over big in the election and all that, but everything they promised. Now, the Rahbar, the so-called hardliners, told our brothers, well, they got permission technically. Well, if we can get a joint comprehensive something or other, 5+1, then it can help the economy. We'll get some of our money back. Da, 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 da. Okay. Now, those people are also tied in with the system here. I'll tell you why. If you remember, I was saying I was watching a lot of foreign minister speeches and a lot of different Charlie Rose and all that. When I saw all of those, it reminded me of Abdul-Malik, Siraj Wahaj, I shouldn't be mentioning that name, but all of those types of people and the institutions here. If one of them go to Hajj and they have a program, the people will say, and the brothers will act very pious, or they, yes, spiritual looking, you know. And the people will ask them questions in the audience related to the phony presentation that they're making. So, if you look at Charlie Rose and Zarif, and you look at all of that stuff, and you look at the conferences and the Europeans, and they have a platform to say what they want. And when you see them talking, and you hear the questions that they ask, you can clearly see that they tied in. Then you have the demonstrations. Okay. So now, here's what we're talking about here. All of a sudden, things start to kind of fall apart a little bit. So when things start to fall apart, you see phony issues popping up. They start with a little demonstration supposed to be against Rouhani, and before you know it, everybody that kicked in, and it's back to death to the dictator, and it's against al-Faqih, it's against the government and not them. And sweetie pies are saying our people have the right to demonstrate, they're taking, and then here these same guys taking the rich Iranian women's position. Because the middle class on down, you could tell by the neighborhoods where out there in the north, they started during the revolution with showing a little hair. Then they go back. Now, for anybody to say that women in Iran are oppressed, when you go in their wealthy neighborhoods, the people, now they used to wear long mantles, long stuff. Now they wear waists. It might as well be a waistcoat. The people are actually look jazzy now. Some of them with a little towel on their head. What is this? Our homeboys popping up on the media and saying, we support more rights for the Iranian people, and they have a right to I don't know if anybody remember when I got back from California, the first thing I said was that our people are using design fitna. Does anybody remember that? Mm-hmm. I was clear that there's design fitna, but then I got quiet about it. I didn't say nothing anymore. I wanted to wait a while. What is this design fitna? In order to, it's, when we talk about diversion and proxy wars, and it just became clear when I just come back from California a little while back, last month. Okay, I went down to our brothers the other day. What I'm doing is a field for how to apply what we know we have to apply. And I'll get to that point. They have, the people here, have studied us in detail. They understand design fitna because I done told them 1,000 times how it worked. They are now using design fitna. That's why as soon as I looked at it, I saw it, but I shut up. Because I wanted to wait for another minute. Remember, delay is fine. It ain't no, don't hurt nobody. So all of this is design fitna by them. Downtown, foreign ministry, presidency. It's design fitna. Why? To take everything that Rahbar told them was right, the so-called principalists or hardliners and all those people have been correct. We've definitely been correct about what we told them. We told them exact words. Okay, if you gotta have a little peace treaty or what, as soon as you make it, sign it. Big smile, and then cut their throat. Yes, you can, because they're gonna cut your throat. They cut their throat. To take focus off them, they're creating these events because you can't go from here to national demonstrations, and this is November 27th. The first part of December is when they was having, was that mid-December or something, when they was having the stuff in Iran? Oh, no, it was early January.
Yeah, or January.
Early January. You can't go in 1 month from everybody carrying flags and understanding what are they saying that the people are saying. People are saying this. Out of Pakistan, out of no Afghanistan, no Syria. The people of Iran know one thing, that they've been after them all the time. They got Libya, then they come, they would love to go straight for Iran. But they felt if they could hit Iran, if they could hit Syria, then they would cut the lifeline. They made a mistake about everything. And Iran has spent less. Saudi Arabia is broke. The Middle Eastern countries are suffering, the big oil barons, badly. So, you can see here, they using the same stuff that they've tried on us. Design fitna. Our people here fill everybody in there. Now I'm also adding in, which I won't have time tonight, all of what happens in Iran, and all what, if you remember the paper downstairs, it says that al-Faqih is a protection against global fitna, safeguard. And one of the things that we're going to do right now, along with all the other things that we have to do, I don't know if I mentioned it, I think I did when I came back from al-Faqih Support Network. Now, for those of you who are here, if you're watching this, we have always had first let me read what we're here for, our favorite ayahs. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. O you who believe, fear Allah, and always say a word directed to the right. Qawlan sadidan, that he may make your conduct whole and sound and forgive you your sins. He who obeys Allah and His Messenger have already attained the highest achievement. So our goal is Kal Sadidan, to speak a word direct, to speak a word pointed in the right direction, with no ambiguities and without playing any psychological mumbo jumbo. And if we do this with sincerity and integrity, whatever faults that we make in our presentation, whatever inconsistencies and things that are not quite clear, that he may make your conduct whole and sound and forgive you your sins. So that if we do this in the right way, we'll speak a word not only directed to the right point, but we will be guarded and protected from any human error that we make. Now, on the subject of Velayat Faqih, first of all, Velayat Faqih, first of all, we have never had any struggle with the concept. Velayat Faqih, some Shias believe in it and some don't. Many big marja, Ayatollah Sistani and others, Ayatollah Kui, they don't believe in it. And some believe in limited wilaya, like it's Velayat Faqih, he's kind of like a caliph. He has the ability to execute all of total authority. Okay, that's a complete, comprehensive wilaya. Okay, in Shiism, in the absence of Imam Mahdi and his Gaiba, after Gaibatul Shubra, which was around 50 years or so, or 70 years, this is when the Niyab or Naib, there were people that came after Imam Mahdi and they executed his authority in his absence. But then they have Ghaibatul Shukra, which is the great occultation, which is from those days to now. The Majah and the Shia community have different concepts about wilaya and about, some say you have to be Masum or you have to have Isma almost to exercise political authority. That means you have to be from the infallible imams. You have to be, because that's big authority. And you and I can't do that. And only when Imam Mahdi returns would there be a person qualified to exercise political authority, complete authority. Okay, Imam Khomeini wrote this book. He gave a series of lectures in about 1969 and 70 when he was in Najaf on that subject of Velayat Faqih. Now this is 8 or 9 years before the revolution. So it ain't like no guarantee we're getting ready to have a revolution. But he's talking about that in the absence of Imam Mahdi, then if we have a state, how would we exercise authority? This is a simple question. And of course, you have to, if you're Shia, you have to have an authority from the Nas or from the text of Quran or the Sunnah or from the Walaya or the writings, statements of the Hadith of the Imams. They have some light stuff, but the real emphasis in Shiism, they have akal as one principle, reason. Okay, now, most of us, the reason we supported Vilayat al-Faqih right away, no questions asked, is because we examined it and it makes sense. You have to have leadership. And then I told him Beheshti, he's the one that basically helped organize the Constitution. And I remember some of his old talks on why we have to put Vilayat al-Faqih in the Constitution. Okay. Let me say something. They have to be just like any imam, a leader. You have to be ardent, you have to be just, you have to be brave, he has to be knowledgeable, he has to be courageous and honest and sincere. He has to have a whole list of things that he has to be. And then they have the majlis that elects the walai. And then if he becomes incapacitated, you might as well call it Article 25. There's an article that they can remove the Rahbar. I don't want to get too into deep, but this is a question that we could put forward, but it was too deep for them to handle at that time. Number one, once you have a state, and you haven't had a state since the time, since the early days of Islam, technically since, Ali was the real authority, then Imam Hussein didn't have a big group. Imam Hassan had enough people, but he relinquished in order to have peace and tranquility in the land. So, the question of Vilayat al-Faqih in the Shia community is one of how much authority would this person have? Many of the Marja believe that this person is real and he has a limited authority. Then there's the other crew that believes that he has complete authority. He has the authority as a leader, okay? We believe he has that authority too. But now look,